relatively, I'm going to say relatively quiet road environment at the moment. So the show, we are going to put a little bit of a spin on what's been going on at World Champs, our South Africans performing over there, and some of the other dirtier racing environments. But before that, Jeremy, how you doing?
Always cool, Steve. Monday morning. Busiest day of the week for me. But yeah, always good to jump on and talk about bike races and see what our South African oaks are doing all over the world.
Yep. The weekend, how did things go?
Good day. Saturday morning, I went for a 10K trot through the suburbs of Benoni. Then yesterday, Sunday, we had a bit of an outride from the studio, rode out towards Heidelberg, made a U-turn and came back. I was lucky to get on the bike, but yes, it's out there. That place, it's always windy. And
it was a windy weekend everywhere, but I can imagine down there, holy smokes, you must have been riding sideways.
No, I like it when it's like that on a big open road like that, because then it's a perfect place to teach people how to ride in the wind and how to ride in the slip. And Steve, it always amazes me when I do these things that you got guys who've experienced, been riding a bike for a long time, that have never been taught that skill, and they don't know how to properly ride an echelon. But it's always a teachable moment when you're out there in the wind. Nice to get out. I must say, 50K is not far, but when I finished, I knew about it.
Well, it's a good weekend. 10K trot and a 50K bike ride. I did nothing of the sort. I did 25,000 steps wandering around the race village of the. Actually, I wrote that on. The Pretoria Boys 24-hour event. That was amazing. We had, by the way,
25,000 steps.
25,000 steps between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. And we did have your noisy Ashton College crowd there. They did quite well. Got some good results out of it as well. Great to have them there. But I think they had about 420 entrants across the 6-hour and the 24-hour. And it was properly put together. It was such a cool vibe, such cool energy. I often say when I'm on the mic at an event and people are so involved in their racing and their strategy and their teammates and everything like that, that they hardly pay attention to me. No one's coming to moan at me. Everyone's getting on with the racing and planning the next thing, and they're just living that moment. It was brilliant. They really did pull it off well. And then I had to deal with, I think I left there at like 10:30 at night. My son did the 6-hour with his team. And then on the way home, the police have put a roadblock on the freeway. And this is something you don't need when you have to spend an hour creeping along in the traffic. I need to realize it's not an accident. There's a bunch of police looking for, I don't know what they're looking for, but hopefully they pulled some criminals off the road. Then home, sleep, up early, and off to Prime View for the Woolworths cross try, which was really cool as well. We've seen, in fact, Wynand, Cape Town Wynand, ASAP. Hofmeyer, that's it. Wynand Hofmeyer. First time I met him was at one of the Willie's X-Tries in Cape Town about 3 or 4 years ago. He won the event back then. That was cool, good fun. Lots of athletes got to work with Sipho Mona for the day, one of the legends in the MC world.
I saw that,
he's so cool. And that was a weekend. Then home and prep school lunches and make sure homework's done. Watch some TV, put your feet up because you got cankles by then. But anyway, that's enough money about me. What do we got to talk about, Jeza?
Well, let's start off with one of the premier. This is a flip of the coin. You can toss this up. One of the premier gravel races in South Africa, the Race to the Sea, that happened this weekend, starting from Franschhoek, straight away up the pass, down the pass, and making your way down to Springwella Cove, close to Hermanus. 100 miles, just over 160 Ks. The guys from Faces Media, they did a very, very cool job. I mean, I was following them on their Instagram page, and they're updating Instagram stories every couple of minutes. So, it was lekker. And I got back from my run, sat down, jumped in front of the computer, and there you go. You can find out what's going on in the race, which I think that's quite lekker.
I'm putting up the results you're going to talk to just now. I'll put it up on the screen.
There we go. Well, I think the stand-up performance there for me has to come from Travis Stedman. This time, 12 months ago, he was borderlining signing a contract with Q36.5, the road team. It was that close, and 12 months ago. But yeah, unfortunately that didn't pan out, and he's come back to South Africa, took a bit of a reset, joined Specialized on the mountain biking side, and yeah, he's had a very good year so far. He won African Continental Marathon Champs also about 6 to 8 weeks ago. Now Race to Sea, that's a big one. So he's kind of like gone through that adjustment phase, I think, and he's starting to find his straps.
Yeah,
good road rider, won many races, strong pedigree, and I think he's starting to come into his own now. I mean, he beat two very, very good riders, Tristan Nortje and Mark Pritson. Between Tristan and Mark, they've won a lot of some of the biggest mountain biking gravel races in the country, and it's lucky to see that Travis, stepping up and starting to push those two guys around a bit.
Yeah, and looking at the race coverage as well, it looked like Travis was the man in charge on the day.
Yeah.
He was able to follow moves. He was able to put the counter on the moves. He was watching the guys in pain and tightening the screws a little bit more every time. Even he said when they dropped Mark towards the end and Tristan was still there, he knew he had the sprint on Tristan, but he had to be patient with it, and he played it out. And then taking the sprint from far out, he ended up with a 2-second advantage by the line. Tristan just tanks empty, but all those guys at that level, and Jaden Turlow, he was fourth. He was an incredible rider. These guys are hardcore fit. So you end up at the top of the pile in an event like that. You're proper high five.
Yeah, very, very good results. Then hopping over onto the women's side, first up we had Hayley Preen, Catherine Collane, Zandri Rousseau, Sarah Hill. Similar thing with the men's race. The coverage of that race, I thought was very lacquer. There was it wasn't like you sit for an hour not knowing what's going on. Then all of a sudden you click on again and here's one rider by themselves. It was pretty good all on. Catherine and Hayley seemed to be the stronger of the women riders on the day, and then at the end, Hayley proving why had been racing in and out of the States this year, and why she's racing at the world's highest level. Winning the race. You don't want to say comfortably, but she won the race in a very dominating and controlling manner.
Yeah, and it is testament to the amount of time she spent racing overseas as well, the hard work she's had to put in. When she's had her setbacks, back onto the indoor trainer, back into the recovery, all the rest of it. Looking at those times, 5:40.55 for her win, 5:43.54 for Catherine, and a 5:50.03. So like the top two relatively close together, then a big jump, and then another 10 minutes back to Sarah Hill. And she's like a giant in the cycling world, especially that endurance side of it. 20-minute beating of fourth place for Hayley Preen. That's a big one.
That's a big one. But if I look at this, and the riders that are there, very, very good efforts, but also it kind of begs the question for me: where are road riders? The local based road riders. I mean, this is one of the bigger races, and as it stands now, there is a bit of a quieter period on the road side. Begs the question: where is everyone?
Well, let me share my screen again. I did read through the list of results, and let's see if I can get this tab up. There we go. Not that one, that one, that one. Let's just check how it brings up. There we go. Travis Stedman. So here's the results. I'm going to read them out to you. Travis Stedman, Tristan Nortje, Mark Pritson, Jaden Turlow, Rudy Kuhn, Jan Vittar, Wessel Botha, Dan van der Walt. There's a rider who's a mountain biker, but a little bit of a road in him. Loert Goosen, Christian Klopper, roadie. Daniel Loubser, Jean-Pierre Duplessis, Kim Bontkoning, Arno Du Toit, Reinhard Janssen van Rensburg, 15th, roadie. Wynand Hofmeyer, 17th. Hey, look at him up there. Philip Bass, Alec Kaleski, Eric Haynes, Kevin Benkenstein, Jaco van Dijk, 24th. Jared Hay, 25th. Kent Main, 26th. Casper Kruger, 28th. Keenan Root, 31st. It's almost like even Flavio Ventureslau, he's a Cape Town-based rider now, 37th. Luke White, Nick White's son, 47th. That's pretty good. Khalisani Ndebele, 54th. Who else have we got on this list? it's almost like the split for the riders. I see Hammond Faree didn't finish. The split of the riders is the guys with that proper hardcore experience, a technical side of the mountain biking, and the top end roadie strategy type stuff happening. But it does seem to be a little bit heavier domination of the mountain bikers in these events still.
Yeah.
And then the roadies seem to be a little bit behind that. The shirts I'm wearing at the moment was the old Cullinan to Tonteldush race. And that was won by the year I was there was, where is he? Kent Main. Kent Main won that with Keenan Rutt. And they put the mountain bikers in their place just because it was a long, open, dusty roads. And I think that event was 260 odd Ks or something. It was psycho long. But yeah, the guys are good, hey? I find these events super entertaining and super fun to watch. And when you see the guys come in at the end, they are broken. They've definitely given their all.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I mean, I always give my insights, inputs, looking at it purely from a road and track riding perspective. Whenever you see the guys finishing these races, they come in head hunched over the handlebars. Yeah, it's a long, hard, dusty day out there. Yeah.
But they do a good job, and it is good to see. I must admit, it's looking at even going through the list of the ladies out there, and the ladies in the mix of the overall, Hayley Preen was 60th overall, Catherine Collane 67th overall, 75th overall was Zanri Rousseau. So top 75 was the top three ladies in the mix. Remember, they're racing their race, so they're not in like mingling with the men. Danielle Stradham, 112th. I'll go through the list here. Ela Stowe, Adrian Moolman, Monica Glover. She's been around and done lots of riding. She was 148th overall. Who else have I got there? Michaela Benkenstein, Ricky Lee Brookstone, we mentioned earlier when we were chatting offline, 212th overall, sub-bet ladies. Nicola Freitas, she's one of the brand ambassadors to the race, a doctor. Lucy Zelenkova in there, two-time half Ironman or Ironman winner internationally. Hardcore athlete, that one. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Events like this, I love them.
Yeah, very lekker. Speaking of dusty roads and getting dirty and emptying yourself out, it's Mountainbike World Champs over this weekend.
Yep, and over the last couple of days. In fact, let me share that screen as well. I'm getting quite good with this technology, eh? How slick am I? I'm going to put up the schedule for the guys on the screen. I know you can't see it because you're working off your phone. There we go. Let's share that one. So this is just bringing up the schedule of the events that are happening. And you must keep in mind, Jeremy, mountain biking has so many sub-disciplines to it. There's PumpTrack, which I don't understand. PumpTrack should be a BMX function. It literally is, the guys have got to be able to push that bike up and down, keep the speed going. And it's not really about pedaling. It's about pumping the handlebars so that you build speed around those tracks. And the skill of those riders is incredible. There's the e-mountain biking categories, which they have in the enduro side and the cross-country side, although I'm not going to bother going through the results here. My personal take on e-bikes, social, helping people who need to get up a level, but I don't think it should be something that's going for a world champs or something like that.
With you on that one.
Cross-country marathon, downhill, cross-country short track, cross-country Olympics. So they've had the opening ceremony. They've done the enduro event, and I'm going to talk about the results there from two of our riders. Cross-country event as well. We got some nice results from the ladies. That we didn't have any men in the marathon field that I know of. I cannot see anything. PumpTrack, one of our ladies in there. Super cool young lady who raced for South Africa. She's been to multiple events, including the Olympics. Downhill, some relatively good results as well in there. And then coming up on Tuesday is a cross-country short track, XCC. And then from Thursday onwards to Sunday are the cross-country Olympic and team relay activities. I don't think we're in any of the team relay stuff, but the traditional names you'd expect to see up at an XCC, XCO will be there. Let me just stop sharing that page and I can talk to this camera. So here's the results that I picked up from World Champs. PumpTrack, I'm going to start with that one. Miranda Maseti, she is the lady I was talking about, has been to Paris Olympics and World Championships all over the place. I get to see her when I do commentary at the PumpTrack events. She's brilliant. She's so, I'll send you videos later. I'll send her, maybe I'll put it into the link in the description. How fast that girl can move on a bicycle. It is incredible. But she did have some cool comments on her social media about not a serious post. Here's me falling. And it's like she gets around there, she's whacking that bike over those little rollers. And then she gets to the point where she's got to do the kickback on herself and she just goes straight over the edge into the fence. But then later comes back with a serious one. She ended up with 3 falls on 3 separate occasions. Every time, not too injured, gets herself back up and does it again. She ended up 11th overall. So at World Champs, PumpTrack ladies elite 11th overall. That is going back through the results. I think she's the highest performing South African rider at this World Champs. And I bet you not many people know about it. So Miranda Maseti, BMXer out of PumpTrack falling under mountain biking for some funny reason instead of BMX. But yeah, she did a good job out there getting 11th. She's not too happy with it. She thinks she could have done more, but the fact that she hit the floor 3 times, well, Miranda, well done to you. Marathon event, really cool, tough going, especially with those Europeans in the mix. Such a crossover of the marathon because you get lots of those roadies, ex-roadies coming through and taking on the event. Plus, you get so many of the Americans who are so hardcore in the gravel world coming through to the marathon side of it as well. On the marathon, by the way, the winners there were both American. So, yeah, they taken Keegan Swanson and Kate Courtney, taking the win. Both of them. Yeah, which is, I mean, Keegan Swanson, well-known character, proper rider, done epic, all of those things. But a well-deserved win to him. And then Kate Courtney, she demolished the field. It was, looking at the times, they were crazy. But our South Africans out there, 29th place, Bianca Haw, 1 hour, 16 minutes down on the winner. That's how hard the race was. She was 29th, and it was 1 hour, 16 minutes down. And the field went down to about 80th place of finishers. So good result for her and super capable. I think the more she does of these, the better she's going to get. And then our Namibian claimer is South African Vera Looser, 8th place. So that is one better than Miranda Maseti. 8th place for her. A phenomenal ride, 27 minutes down off Kate Courtney, but right up at the sharp end of the race. So well done to Vera Looser. I couldn't pick up any men in the men's marathon event. Onto the Enduro. Richard Roux Jr. was the winner there. Total time, 29 minutes. Let's switch that phone off. I thought it was on silent. He took the win, 29 minutes, 37.67 seconds to do all the runs. Jason Boulle, the man who's been on the show before, I do a relatively regular show run with him. 32 minutes, 22.79 seconds for his runs. He ended up 53rd overall. He's been getting better and better for every single one of the events. And then behind him, Keira Duncan, 32.27.13. Keegan Brand, I think he ended up going across to race in the downhill side, and he didn't get the selection for the Enduro. And then Ariel Bear, I believe, was supposed to be our 3rd rider, but she ended up breaking her arm and nothing to do with cycling. So that was her World Champs brought to an end. But there we go. Keira Duncan at 32.27. He did say he had a big wipeout on one of the runs. The weather did seem to change quite a bit out there and put up some big challenges on him. He is a proper class rider. So 53rd and 58th for Jason Boulle and Keira Duncan, respectively. Downhill side, some nice results coming through. You must understand the downhill, you have to qualify. So they do qualifying, and you have to fall within a certain percentage of the field to go through to the next round. So by the time they get to the finals that we see on TV, they've already whittled that field down. The guys have done a few runs out there. The winner In the men's was Jackson Goldstone. That guy has been absolutely demolishing the field. And if you watch the highlights on his run, and his winning time, by the way, 2 minutes 54.153. Those guys are at their limit. Every muscle working at its hardest. And you can imagine what that's like, going flat out for almost 3 minutes. And we get another call coming in. Sorry, guys. Friends calling me from Ireland. Hello, Megan. I'll give you a shout later. So he took the win. We had Rory Kirk coming in 59th. He literally, 59th position was 20 seconds down. Only 20 seconds. That was the difference between the two. Johan Potgieter, 73rd. Potty, or whatever they call him, he seems to be a personality of note. I've never met him personally, but absolutely amazing what he does with his social media and how he encourages all the other riders. He does a lot of coaching down the Cape area as well. So 73rd for him. On the ladies, Valentina Hull took the win. 3:27.136, and we had Frankie Du Toit, Francis Du Toit, another one of our Cape Town riders, coming in 34th place there, about 37 seconds down on the win. So a good result there. The rest of it, I couldn't pick up any other results on the system, but we do have coming up XCC and XCO. So we're going to see a fair number of our riders we talk about on a regular basis participating there. And obviously the big one will be Alan Hatherley defending those world champs stripes. Is he going to be able to do it? The last of the events, he got himself a 4th. He was in the mix. He was talking very positively. So let's see how it goes. Anyway, that's it from me on the mountain biking side.
I'm just a little bit surprised that Keegan Swenson is there, and our very own Matt Beers decided not to put a number on and go to Worlds.
It's it'll be interesting to know what happened. If anyone does know what the story was, he would have been a man who could have mixed it up there.
Definitely.
And he may have looked at it and gone, well, it's not 160 miles. And, you know, he'd prefer those miles to whittle down the field as opposed to the intensity of the racing whittling it down. So I don't know. It may very well be that he hasn't done enough of the marathon style racing events to qualify for selection. I actually don't know.
Just quite interesting. I mean, Keegan Swenson, those two pretty much they're racing a lot with each other in the States. I thought.
Yeah, the gravel scene is where the gravel scene is where they're very big, and that's where we'd love to see a Matt Beers taking a world championship title at some point. But it is interesting because I think it would have suited, particularly our South African environment. Our marathon type riding is what majority of our mountain bikers do. We're marathon riders, and XCO, we're doing quite well in that, but it's like 1 hour flat out, technical as all well, and the intensity through the roof. And we don't really have racing to suit that in South Africa. The riders end up doing it outside of South Africa. When I say that, I mean we still have our provincial series and our schools races and things like that, so they get the experience there. But average accessible racing, club racing, that type of thing, it's all going to be marathon style racing.
Yeah, so quite a lot happening on the dirty roads for the South Africans.
Yes, exactly. But we do have the build-up coming for World Champs, and I think that's going to be the big focus. You were talking about some of our ladies that are out there making their final preparations for World Champs. Ashleigh, Moolman-Pasio being one of them.
Ashleigh, Tiffany, Keep, Sonora Grove, they're all going to final preparation phases for World Champs. I would imagine that they will be heading off to some kind of altitude. Because Kigali is not sea level at all. You need to get some altitude adjustment done. Funny enough, I spoke to Blaine Kieck on Saturday morning, and he's actually in Joburg as we speak. His whole preparation will be he flew in end of last week, with the main focus here getting the altitude adjustments to get ready for Kigali.
Maybe you must call him in and do a little person-to-person chat with him in his preparation. Talk to him about his season. Or maybe I can corner him out in the cradle of mankind because I often see him out there, middle of Tuesday morning. I'll go for a ride tomorrow. Blaine, if you're listening, see you out there, buddy. We'll do a little interview.
So sticking with our women, our top level racing women, they final preparations for world champs, and then Maddie Roux, riding for Canyon SRAM Continental Team. She is lining up tomorrow in France for a 6-day stage race in France called the Ardèche. So yeah, we say this every week. After a crash, she seems to have come right, got her training together, and she's going to be hitting this race, and then from there starting to taper off and get ready for world champs in Kigali.
Yep.
Then hopping over to our elite racing men. We speak about him often, Louis Meintjies, our premier South African road race or stage race rider. After yesterday's currently sitting on 18th place on GC. So a top 20 in another Grand Tour seems to be on the cards. He was top 20 in the Giro this year, top 20 in the Criterium du Dauphiné. And the way things are going now, he's poised to grab another top 20 in a Grand Tour. A lot of guys will almost give anything just to ride a Grand Tour, let alone be in the top 20 and consistently doing it. Yeah, so Louis doing a good job at the Vuelta.
Yeah, and it's been quite the challenging event. Not only have they got a really tough parcours to deal with, the course, the climbing, and we saw them taking on that insanely steep, what is it thing called?
Angleroo. Also Angleroo on Friday,
they're doing like 7 km an hour up the climb, and they're going flat out. There's nothing they can do about it. And the guys running next to them, it looks like they're running up a staircase. It's so steep. But they also have to deal with all these pro-Palestinian guys mixing it up. Something I'm not excited about. I don't like seeing any of that politics coming into sport. It's got nothing to do with the riders. If they wanted to do it properly, maybe they should sponsor a pro-Palestine cycling team and pay the salaries of the riders to get them exposure instead of crashing riders out, It makes me very irritated. I saw the latest news that they might not even have the final stage on Sunday in Madrid.
That'll be a shame. All the riders from all the various different teams. I mean, the world of professional cycling it's an international sport. It's not like just because the team is based in France, for argument's sake, it's going to have all French riders. It's all multinational, and the riders are there to race their bikes and do a job.
You see, I don't mind a statement being made, but when the statement is being made by being a retard, because that's what I think they are, then it's stupid. There's ways of doing this the other way. And if Israel Premier Tech is going to sponsor and support the sport, which is what they're doing, they're not doing it. They're there to get exposure for their brand. And the pro-Palestinian guys want to get exposure for their brand. Well, sponsor a team, get involved, get in there and prove that you're a better team, prove that you're a better nation. That's the way to do it constructively in a way to get the fans on your side, because I think they're making the fans not like them. Definitely my taste after this experience is I was not too involved in the whole thing, but now I'm absolutely thinking they are pathetic.
Yeah, and it's just, I think the both of us, we like to follow the race and see what is going on, to kind of keep a finger on the pulse of what's going on. And you're just hearing some of the stories coming out of the main racing group that certain riders are telling or suggesting that riders from Israel Premier Tech rather leave the race, which I think is utter bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't deny a professional racing team to race on the world's highest stage. That's bullshit. I think the riders should be left to do what they're there to do. I was watching the stage yesterday, and Marco Frigo running third in the stage. I think it was just it was good for the team's morale to get a top result. Yeah, and hopefully building this going into the final week. They've got Riccatello, who's fighting out for the young rider competition. I'm not sure in his exact, but he's definitely well within the top 10 on GC. Hopefully the riders can be left to race. That's what they're there to do.
Yeah. Before you go back to our men's riders, just talking about the Vuelta, the last couple of stages, it's a rest day today. They got a medium mountains for Tuesday, Wednesday. They then got the individual time trial on Thursday. Flat stage Friday. Mads Pedersen for another possible sprint and some more points jersey class. He's been incredible. Mountain stage with a nice big mountain finish as well on Saturday, and that may be the end of the whole tour. It was supposed to be Madrid on the Sunday, but yeah, they're worried about being able to control these protests, so we may not see that finish, that traditional finish. Anyway, let's go back to our South African riders. Enough moaning from Steve Saunders.
Okay, Byron Munton, if you go a little bit south of Spain, he's racing in Portugal, and he finished yesterday. It was a 9-day stage race, the Grand Prix Jornal de Noticias. Hot off a 3rd place in the Vuelta Portugal. Byron, putting up a very strong fighting performance in the last stage, but keep rolling in 10th place in the overall classification. Byron's definitely been on the up. 3rd place in the Tour of Portugal, 10th place now in another one of their high-level tours. Glad that he's up and fighting and doing South African cycling pride, putting us on the map.
Yeah, one of the places we go and look for stats on these riders is Pro Cycling Stats. It's not an official UCI thing, but it is probably the most central place to easily see what's going on with an individual rider. And to talk about his journey, Byron's journey is, how many positions has he moved up in his rankings? What are his point status like? And you can see his per season. 2019, he was 1,565th. 2022 is 1,238. 2024 is 1,440. And now 518th in the world. 518th. That's just that consistency. He's coming into his own, that's for sure.
And I really hope from this, he can land a ride on a team that's going to provide opportunities to race at a high level. And you can hopefully keep on his current trajectory. Because he's a good rider, strong rider. He's proven he's got the staying power, he's got the grit, and he's starting to come good. And I hope, like I say, he can get into his off the team where he gets more exposure to the high level of racing.
No, he's brilliant. He's done such a good job.
Then staying in that part of Europe, Pedri Crause finished the Tour l'Avenir last week. He's also getting stuck in final preparations now for World Champs. Joshua Dyke, he was racing this weekend on the Vuelta Tenerife. He managed to roll in 26th place on GC. He'll be coming back to Johannesburg pretty soon, as he's going to start his final preparation up here at altitude. To get ready for it. I would imagine that the time trial will be a big focus for him at World Champs.
I chatted to his parents the other day. I saw them out in the cradle on a bike ride, and they'd just come back from a week of hanging with Josh for his 21st birthday in Spain.
Yeah,
so that was cool.
Yeah, not a bad place to spend your 21st birthday.
Exactly.
And also against not this, what I'm going to talk about next now, not so much about racing, it's about what's happened to one of our riders that is currently based in Spain. Stefan De Bod, in the last little while, he's had 2 unfortunate training incidences, and he's out for a little bit. Crash, stitches in his jaw, broke a few fingers, but he's back at home trying to get back on the mend and then get back to the racing end of September.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he's had a good season. I think it's been this change from World Tour team down one level, but he's really it's like giving him the opportunity to shine again. And unfortunate to have that at this moment in time.
But luckily it's not like a broken collarbone or a broken femur that's going to stitch out for a long time. These fingers and still stitches on the chin that can get healed up, and it shouldn't stop or interfere with his training too much. You can keep on going, and again search for another victory towards the back end of the season.
Yeah, possibly even some rest time, which quite often these riders don't actually ever get.
Yeah. Then hopping over to the other side of the world, China, the Tour of Changhai. We spoke about this last week. Tyler Lange is on a stagiaire stint with a team of Willie Smit, that China Glory. So on stage 1, the Tour of Shanghai, Tyler had a bloody good start. He finished 18th in a bunch kick. He's currently sitting, it was on Saturday, two or three stages in. He's on 31st on GC. Willie Smit, I would imagine, being the O-man, the corp man in the team, he's trying to keep things together. And he's also sitting mid-pack. But something that I noticed on Saturday morning, and I was like, what the hell is this? Tiago de Silva, he is currently racing. He is racing the Tour of Shanghai with the Hurricane team. That's the team that Callum Orniston and Jose Kleinsmith are signed up with. So I did some asking, scratching around. Apparently, he got the phone call on Tuesday, being 6 days ago. Can he make it? Is he ready to race? Yes. And he was on the flight on Thursday, heading over to Shanghai.
Yeah.
So
I chatted to his
whirlwind.
dad. I haven't, I knew him when he was a youngster, the junior ranks, and proper class little rider. So good to see him in there. I see they haven't updated pro cycling stats on his ride over there yet. But
if you go look on pro cycling stats, you won't see his name in the race, but you will see Jose Kleinsmith's name in the race. Unfortunately,
the race numbers switched.
Jose is in South Africa now, but I'm not sure on the exact technicalities of it. But according to pro cycling stats, Jose Kleinsmith, he's actually sitting on 35th on GC now. Jose Kleinsmith, Tiago de Silva. I think we need to come up with a combination, gemengsel van 'n naamdrasel.
Yeah, that is. I'm actually going to go take a look at that. That is Smith. Let's see what they got to say there, Jose Kleinsmith. Now there's a million Kleinsmiths in
there. So while you're having a looking up for our Jose de Silva or Tiago Kleinsmith, however you want to look at it, let's jump over to keeping in China. Tomorrow, Callum Orniston is going to line up for the Tour of Binshaou. Yeah, Callum, we often speak about him. He's taken a slightly different route this season. He's been taking part in the Chinese Pro League. Yeah, and there's a couple of them being South African riders that venture that way. And we said always, it's like that the sport of professional cycling is growing. It's not just only Europe, and you have to be in Europe. There are the opportunities and platforms where you can go apply a trade and make a living out of the sport and progress up and move forward in the world of professional cycling.
Yep, absolutely. It's cool to see that whole eastern side of the world coming up with some big racing as well, considering 99.999% of the bikes that are being ridden around the world all come out of there. Good to see them hosting some races. Listen, looking at some of the social media, it looks like the roads out there aren't too bad either. Facilities, law-abiding, everything looks amazing that side.
Yeah, it looks very, very good. Then we're going to go a little bit more closer to Africa, the Middle East. We've got two riders that are currently competing in the Middle East. On Saturday was the Dofu Classic, and we had our current South African lead road race champion, Daniel Matthews. He took part in that with his Philippine professional team, 7-Eleven. He rolled in at 29th place. And then also on the start line on that day was the current South African under-23 road race champion, Warren Moolman. He's riding for his Maydar Pro Continental Cycling team. So unfortunately, Warren didn't finish the race, but then the very next day, being yesterday, they're both lined up for the Tour of Salah. It is a 3-day stage race. So they started yesterday, and yesterday Daniel rolled in at 29th place, and then Warren Moolman rolled in at 32nd place. So we have two South Africans currently racing in the Middle East.
Yeah, in the mix. Nice work, guys. Good luck out there, Danielle and Warren.
Yeah, it's quite cool. There are two South African road race champions, the elite and the under-23. Yeah, lekker.
Yeah, that is cool. I dig it.
Then Emile Van Niekerk, he is in or heading over or who is in Indonesia. He's got 10 days of racing in the coming up the next 2 weeks. So Emile Van Niekerk, he was on the podium in Poland last week, came back home for a quick short in and out, and he's headed off to Indonesia for 10 days of racing over there.
Nice. Well, good luck to Emile.
And two riders that also picked up, that Ethan Coulson and Carl Engelbrecht, they're currently both in Belgium, and they raced yesterday at the GP Johan Hent. Unfortunately, both those boys came back with DNS, but yeah, nice to see that the South Africans still racing in Belgium, still lining up at the courses.
Yeah, it takes time to learn those environments and to be able to figure out the rhythm of the racing. Like when you haven't figured it out yet, it just feels like it's impossible. Once you figure it out, it's almost like you've worked out the puzzle, and it almost seems a little bit easy, although it's definitely not easy. But it is about learning that system.
You got to learn the flow, learn to understand things, learn how things work. I was reading somewhere the other day that Ethan is there to try and raise his level and hopefully make himself or put himself in a better position to be eligible for selection for the Commonwealth Games in 2026. For those who don't know, the Commonwealth Games is going to happen in Glasgow. There will only be track racing. There will not be any road events due to the time constraints, budget constraints. So yeah, if you are a track rider, endurance track rider in South Africa, this is a great opportunity to step up and shine. And I think Ethan is he's trying to build on a long-term project here to get himself ready to be in form and eligible for selection for the Commonwealth Games in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we hop in over to our junior men. We currently have two South African riders that are in Europe. First up, we start off with young Gustav Roller. He's riding for that Krabby Destiny team. He raced yesterday in Belgium, the Woest Wezel one-day race. Managed to come in at 32nd place, and I picked up there that his teammate rolled in at second. So I'm sure Gustav played a part in helping get his teammate to the front end of the race. Yeah. Gustav's another good rider. We've known him for a long, long time. When he's about that big, coming on the track, and he's progressed nicely. Yeah, he's in Belgium to make his assault on the second. This is going to sound strange, but like his third part of the season, because he was in Belgium from very early on in the year, in the middle of winter, had a couple of good results, came back to South Africa, back to the winter. He was racing up here, building on his form. He then went back to Belgium, had a Junior World Track Champs a week or two ago, and now he's going for the back end of the season of Belgian racing. Because now from next year, next year he's going to be an under 23 rider, so he needs to get some kind of good performance, good results to get himself a ride in the team for the 2026 season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then Josh Johnson, he was racing for his Grenke Auto Erle team. That is the junior Red Bull Hansgrohe feeder team. They raced in Switzerland on the weekend, and the GP Roy Biland, my pronunciation is probably horrible, as I always say, I probably butcher these names. But yeah, he came in pretty much mid-pack. He had a very good opening stage one. He rolled in at 13th place. Yeah, I think Josh his main focus now is also going to shift towards the time trial at Junior World Champs, which is going to be on I think it's the 20th. Yeah, his time trial will be on the 23rd of this month. Big, strong guy. Big, strong guy, massive engine. I don't want to put any. I don't want to put any pressure on him, but I think a top result is definitely possible with him. And hopefully, he can in the coming weeks get his preparation dialed in, get all these things right, so when he gets on the start line on the race day, the time trial, he's able to deliver the best that he can deliver. If he delivers the best that he can deliver, yeah, a top result would not surprise me.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised either if he was up there for the running. Let's hope it all works out for him. He's a rider when the mindset's there, and remember when he's riding Worlds, it's going to be riding for South Africa, so he's not going to have the team responsibilities he had before.
Yeah,
it's time trial. He's riding for himself, so he gets the opportunity individually to go and do his thing. He isn't under instruction to, hold back, take it easy, go hard in a certain segment so he can check things out for his teammate or nothing like that. So I think it's going to be a good one for him.
On a similar sort of note, I see Nicholas van der Merwe, our South African Bulgarian. He's back in South Africa. I chatted to him last week. He's saying he's here for the altitude preparation for World Champs. I see he's been doing a lot of work on his time trial bike. It's also another rider that, if he gets it right on the day, he can also deliver a very, very solid performance. If I just backtrack to Gauteng Time Trial Championships earlier this year, out near Parade, memory serves me correctly, he actually ran the he ran the quickest time of the day, even compared to the leads under 23s. So if he gets these things dialed in, he can have a good performance.
Yeah, I've seen him out in the cradle when I'm out there, and he's out there doing his hours, 4, 5, 6 hours at a time. His dad's out there on his e-bike trying to keep up or support him, but he's out there doing the hard work. I think that man has got work ethic like you can't believe, and definitely capable of being a pro with the amount of load that he seems to be able to handle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, Steve, well, that's it from me on the road side. Like I said, it's not a super busy time, but a lot of our top-end riders are getting ready for Worlds. And in Europe, I don't want to say the season is winding down because that's not exactly it yet, but it's starting to slowly head towards the back end of the season.
Yep.
And there's not as much intensity as what there was 2 months ago.
Yeah, and it does. The storyline of the year always is this super exciting. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen there? And then you sort of settle into the personalities that have been repetitively performing. We get to the end of the Grand Tours. Vuelta coming to an end now. All the Grand Tours seem to disappear. World Champs is the next thing. By the way, before we go, I just want to call up and show the guys the profiles on World Champs from the UCI website. And then we head to the closing autumn races. And then it's, well, for you and I, it's super exciting because all the track racing starts again, as well as the cyclocross. And then for us in South Africa, we're out doing our runs, getting sunburnt because, well, it's summer here in South Africa. But
got to do it, man.
Got to do it. Jeremy, I want to share this this page from the UCI, and it's of the World Champs. So it shows the schedule and all the rest of it. I've done a lot of work around this stuff. Just going on to the start of the whole thing is going to be the time trials, the 21st of the 9th. So ladies event 31.2 Ks, 460 meters vertical ascent. Not too bad. A fair number of twists and turns, but the route there, a long section of out and back, and then looping around and back in again. Profile, they go out over a hill, come back over the hill, and then back in towards the end. A little bit of a climb, a little bit bumpy, and then onto the finish line is how the route works. It's going to be the same route for all of them. Just the total distance is going to vary. The men go that little bit further out past the climb. And the interesting one to look at is when we go through the schedule. So 21st, 22nd, the time trials. Junior men individual time trial on the 23rd. Team relay, we don't really get involved in that at South Africa. I don't know why. I thought it would be quite cool. But the women's elite road race, 27th of September, 164 Ks, 3,350 meters vertical ascent. There's the circuit they're doing. It's a main circuit that all the races do. If you look at the elevation profile in the middle of the screen, it looks like a saw. It is just up and down and up and down, left and right, and turns all over the place. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 laps. It is going to be more like a criterium than anything else. It's definitely going to be a race that's going to be whittling those riders down. And we did discuss the men's route the other day. 267.5 kilometers, a massive 5,475 meters elevation. And with no absolutely standout climbs in there, that is coming with just those repeated punch you in the face type climbs and hills. They do have that one extra circuit they go out on, which takes them out to Mont Kigali as the big climb of the day. So, and you can see that in the elevation profile that they actually highlight where the men go off the route that everyone else is doing, and they go and do that big climb, and then they come back into the circuit. And if I work it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 laps of the circuit. And one of those is that extra loop, which is quite a distance, takes them all the way out around to Mont Kigali. So, yeah, World Champs, looking forward to it. It's going to be a good festival of racing. The UCI website, uci.org, carries all the event information. Well worth going to take a look at it. And, yeah, we're excited for that one. Let me stop sharing my And Jeremy, I think that's from our side, eh?
Yeah, pretty much sorted. That's all the details there for now.
Yeah, the only things I know happening in the next while is it the Diamond Classic, I think, coming up, or one of the road races, Pretoria side.
Yeah, on Pretoria side,
looks like it's happening, which is quite a good thing. Some news that's been happening on the road scene in South Africa, event organizers. I'm not sure what we're allowed to say, not allowed to say, but there's been lots of stuff being shared all over the place. De Villiers cycling in liquidation by the looks of it. I say this unofficially because I'm not exactly sure what the situation is, but it looks like it's negatively affecting us in Gauteng with the Monte Cassino Classic. And then those 2 tours down in the Cape Province now put on hold as well. Not brilliant for our cycling environment, but indicative of how difficult business is in South Africa. We've got some of the cheapest entry fees in the world in South Africa because of our rand, but we also got some of the lowest income rates you can get because of the rand and all the costs you pay for to live in this country. So, to the De Villiers organization, sorry guys, I hope it goes smoothly. I've been through that before. And to the rest of the South African guys out there, all the cyclists, just be aware, although it's maybe cut to you because you may have paid for a race entry. I'm sure at some point you may be able to get something back. Keep on trying. But a rough environment out there in business terms. That's it for us. Cheers,
Yeah, done. That's all I have for this week. Yeah, touch bases next week, Monday.
Looking forward to it. All the riders out there, guys, keep on rocking it. Send us your news. Keep on with the social media. Tag Jeremy, Bycroft Performance, or myself, Steve Saunders. And the more we know, the more you make us aware of things, the easier it is for us to be able to share the news. The most consistent of those news sharers, I've got to say, is One Movement Africa. They're amazing with what they do in promoting their riders. That's why we're always mentioning guys like Byron and Josh Johnson and all the rest of them, because they do such a good job with their media. And any of those riders out there struggling off on their own, maybe it's worth going to chat to them and seeing what a management company can help you do and elevating your profile. That's it for us. As I said, third time over.
Cool.
Jeremy, thank you
for
all your insights. You're absolutely amazing. Guys, we'll chat later. Have a good week.